When the COVID-19 pandemic hit in early 2020, Cynthia Rollins had been working remotely as the COO of a software company, based out of San Francisco. With the lockdowns limiting her days to her relatively tiny apartment in the city, she started looking into potential places to move to when she came across Tulsa Remote, a program that has incentivized over 2,500 remote workers from around the country since 2018 with $10,000 of monetary assistance to move to the Oklahoman city. Even though she didn't know anyone in Tulsa, she took a shot and applied. In November of 2020 she made the move. Although the program's requirement for the grant is to stay in Tulsa for a year, 88% of participants end up staying for longer. Tulsa Remote reports. I've lived in New York City. I lived in the Bay, LA, Palm Springs, Las Vegas, and out of all the places I've lived in, and I want to bring those places up for a reason because they are all dope spots. I have to say my favorite place is Tulsa, says Tawny de la Peña, an ex-journalist turned personal coach and a fellow Tulsa Remoter since 2021. CNBC Make It spoke with 3 Californian remote workers on their experience moving from the Golden State to Tulsa, and why they aren't looking back. California has seen mass migration out of the state in recent years, particularly following the pandemic and the rise of virtual work, a phenomenon that observers have named the California Exodus. Between April 2020 and July 2022, the number of people who moved out of California surpassed those who moved in by 700,000 people. One of the first things that stood out to Rollins when she came to Tulsa was the ease of life. One of the unexpected consequences of moving here was that it freed up all of the part of my brain that was still spent on logistics, Rollins says. Parking worries are alleviated, she says, as it's relatively easy to find space and it's free all day on the weekends, and every day after 5 p.m. running errands and meeting up with friends is also much less of a worry, she says, because you can get to everything in Tulsa in 20 minutes. It's much harder to feel isolated in Tulsa than it is in other big places where it's just difficult to get around, she says, comparing it to her life back in San Francisco. Tulsa has a population of 411,867 people, according to an estimate from the 2022 US Census. Not having to worry about logistics decreased stress for de la Peña as well. She says she is grateful that Tulsa has given her breathing room. I don't have to kill myself working a full-time job while fighting traffic and also building a business, she says. I can build my business and take a break if I want to. Unsurprisingly, Tulsa is a cheaper city than its counterparts in California. The same goes statewide. California ranks 3rd place nationally in cost of living, whereas Oklahoma ranks all the way down in 47th. The high cost of living in California made work stressful for Rollins.